the family feud that made overnight headlines across the world.
We're going to turn now to one of the most famous families in the world.
Brooklyn Beckham is breaking his silence about a family feud surrounding his wife.
He's calling his parents, David and Victoria, controlling.
The Beckham family drama continues to escalate after firstborn son Brooklyn Beckham blasted his famous parents, David and Victoria, in a long and emotional Instagram message.
People have gone crazy, and it has been wildly entertaining to everyone with a cell phone or access to Instagram.
Victoria and David Beckham just gave their son Brooklyn an ultimatum that's going to shock you. After weeks of public silence following Brooklyn's explosive Instagram posts, sources just revealed what the Beckhams are demanding if they ever want to reconcile with their eldest son. And it's brutal. They want Nicola Peltz completely out of Brooklyn's life, not just distant, not just separate, gone. And Brooklyn's response? He just posted the most defiant photos of his wife on Instagram, making it crystal clear where he stands. In this video, we're breaking down the Beckham family's ultimatum, the millions of dollars Brooklyn and Nicola were offered for their wedding footage, and why this family feud is about to get way worse before it gets better. So here's where we're at. On January 19th, Brooklyn Beckham posted 6 Instagram stories absolutely destroying his parents. He accused them of hijacking his wedding, pressuring him to sign away the rights to his name, and treating brand Beckham like it's more important than their actual family. For weeks, Victoria and David stayed silent. No public response, no statement, just radio silence. And people assumed they were taking the high road, waiting for the drama to die down. But behind the scenes, they've been strategizing. And according to multiple sources who spoke to People magazine, the Beckhams are ready to take Brooklyn back. They love him. They're scared of losing him. They'd welcome him home in a heartbeat. But there's one condition, one non-negotiable demand. Nicola Peltz has to go. A source told People, the Beckhams have no intention of reconciling with their son unless Nicola is out of the picture. Not unless they work things out, not unless there's therapy. Unless Nicola is completely gone. And when you think about it, that's insane. This is their son's wife, the woman he married in front of 500 people at a 3-day celebration in Palm Beach, the woman he renewed his vows with in 2025 without inviting his family. And Victoria and David are essentially saying, choose us or choose her. But this ultimatum reveals something deeper about how the Beckhams operate. For years, Brooklyn lived under his parents' control. Victoria trademarked his name in 2016 when he was just 17 years old. Think about that. His mother legally owned the rights to Brooklyn Beckham as a brand before he was even an adult. And according to Brooklyn's Instagram statement, his parents repeatedly pressured him to sign away those rights permanently, right before his wedding. They wanted control. They wanted to make sure Brooklyn stayed part of brand Beckham forever. When Brooklyn refused to sign, something shifted. Word is Victoria and David never treated him the same after that. Because for the first time in his life, Brooklyn said no. He drew a boundary. And the Beckhams don't do boundaries. They do brand management. They do image control. They do whatever it takes to protect the empire they've built over the last 25 years. And Nicola, she was the catalyst for Brooklyn finally standing up for himself. That's why Victoria wants her gone. But here's something most people don't realize about Brooklyn. A second source close to the situation said, that's not an ultimatum he's going to cave on. Brooklyn has felt more support from his wife in these past 3 years than from his parents in his entire life. And honestly, you can see it. Since Brooklyn stepped away from his family, he's looked happier, more at peace. In his Instagram statement, he even said his anxiety disappeared for the first time in his life once he stopped trying to please his parents. That line right there tells you everything. Brooklyn grew up with anxiety because of his family, not because of fame, not because of pressure from the outside world, because of his own parents, because every decision he made had to align with brand Beckham. Every girlfriend had to be approved. Every career move had to fit the image. And when Brooklyn finally found someone who put him first, someone who supported him unconditionally, Victoria saw that as a threat. Because Nicola Peltz isn't just some random celebrity Brooklyn's dating, she's the daughter of Nelson Peltz, a billionaire investor worth over $1.5 billion. She doesn't need the Beckham name, she doesn't need brand Beckham, and she definitely doesn't need Victoria's approval. Nicola has her own family, her own money, and her own career. She's not intimidated by Victoria, and that's exactly what Victoria can't stand.
What the heck actually happened in this dance?
I know she is mortified. Victoria Beckham did not see that in her future, that she was going to be an AI meme, dancing all kinds of ways.
People have gone crazy, and it has been wildly entertaining to everyone with a cell phone or access to Instagram.
Is the Beckhams brand ruined? Can they come back from this?
And Brooklyn made his stance crystal clear just days ago. On January 29th, Brooklyn posted photos of Nicola on Instagram. And these weren't just cute couple pics. One photo showed Nicola in bed. Another showed them at dinner. The message was obvious: I'm not backing down. No caption, no explanation, just Nicola. It was the most public middle finger Brooklyn could give his parents without actually saying a word. And the timing, perfect. Because sources had just leaked that Victoria and David were willing to reconcile, but only if Nicola was out of the picture. So Brooklyn posted the most intimate, affectionate photos of his wife he could find. It's like he's saying, "You want me to choose? I already did." And social media loved it. People were commenting things like, "Brooklyn said not today," and "This is how you stand by your wife." Because let's be real, when your parents give you an ultimatum like that, you're supposed to cave. You're supposed to feel guilty. But Brooklyn didn't. The photos weren't random either. They were carefully chosen. One showed Nicola looking directly at the camera with this confident, unbothered energy. Another captured them laughing together over dinner. These weren't paparazzi shots or staged photo ops. They were intimate moments that Brooklyn decided to share with the world at the exact moment his parents were trying to erase Nicola from his life. It's power move after power move. What's actually working? Brooklyn's controlling the narrative while Victoria and David stay silent. He's showing the world that he's happy, he's in love, and he's not going back to his family no matter what they demand. And just days before that, Nicola posted her own video on TikTok. It showed her and Brooklyn spending a day together, cuddling with their dog, having lunch, visiting a garden, taking a walk in the park, and having dinner by the fireplace. She captioned it, "I love you." Simple, direct, unbothered. While the Beckham family is in full crisis mode, Brooklyn and Nicola are out here living their best life, posting couple content and showing zero signs of stress. That's the ultimate response to an ultimatum. Not anger, not defensiveness, just pure unbothered happiness.
Nicola and Brooklyn Peltz Beckham, bride and groom once again.
My gorgeous wife, she looks amazing tonight.
Brooklyn's truly like my best friend and also like the love of my life, so it's been nice.
So nice, they did it twice. Brooklyn and Nicola renewing their vows 3 years into wedded bliss.
She's the best and she's doing her thing and I'm so happy.
The intimate affair taking place at the Peltz family estate in New York. Nicola serving bridal elegance in wedding white, Brooklyn keeping it classic in a black tuxedo. The actress's family was all there to celebrate. And get this, Nicola's dad, billionaire investor Nelson Peltz, officiated the ceremony.
I have 7 siblings. So I think he loves being with my family and just being around so many boys. I think he has like built-in boy best friends now.
Now let's talk about the wedding footage, because this is where things get really interesting. According to Rob Shooter, a celebrity insider, Brooklyn and Nicola were offered millions of dollars to release the video of Victoria's infamous dance with Brooklyn at their wedding, Gillian's, and they immediately turned it down. Why? Because as one source said, money doesn't wipe off trauma. The footage exists. It's on a private device that only Brooklyn and Nicola control, and it's never going to see the light of day. But here's what's wild. Sources who have seen the video say it's not even that shocking. It's just awkward. One insider described it as uncomfortable, not scandalous. So if the video isn't that bad, why is Brooklyn so adamant about keeping it private? Because it's not about what's on the video. It's about what the video represents. That was supposed to be Brooklyn and Nicola's first dance, their moment. And Mark Anthony called Victoria to the stage instead, leaving Nicola in tears and Brooklyn humiliated in front of 500 guests.
In his Instagram story, Brooklyn wrote, "My mom hijacked my first dance with my wife, which had been planned weeks in advance, to a romantic love song. In front of our 500 wedding guests, Mark Anthony called me to the stage, where in the schedule was planned to be my romantic dance with my wife, but instead my mom was waiting to dance with me. She danced very inappropriately on me in front of everyone. I've never felt more uncomfortable or humiliated in my entire life."
What makes this footage situation even more complicated? Every frame is controlled by Brooklyn and Nicola. It was their wedding, their videographer, their private property. So when media outlets and tabloids started offering 6-figure and 7-figure sums for the rights to that video, Brooklyn and Nicola didn't even hesitate. No, because releasing that footage wouldn't prove anything. It wouldn't vindicate Brooklyn. It wouldn't make Victoria look worse. All it would do is turn the most painful moment of their wedding into entertainment for millions of people. And Brooklyn's not interested in that. But the fact that people are willing to pay millions for it tells you everything about how big this scandal has become. This isn't just family drama anymore. This is a full-blown media circus. Everyone wants to see the moment Victoria allegedly danced inappropriately with her son. Everyone wants to judge for themselves whether Brooklyn's telling the truth or exaggerating. But Brooklyn and Nicola aren't giving anyone that satisfaction. They're keeping their trauma private. That's probably the smartest move they could make, actually. Because here's what would happen if they released that video. Victoria and David's PR team would spin it. They'd say it was just an innocent mother-son dance. They'd claim Brooklyn's overreacting. They'd make Nicola look dramatic for crying. And the Beckham machine would roll right over Brooklyn and Nicola's truth. So by keeping the video private, Brooklyn's maintaining control. He's saying, I know what happened, Nicola knows what happened, the 500 guests who were there know what happened, and that's enough. I don't need to prove it to the world. He described it as really awkward and said the most uncomfortable part wasn't even the wedding itself. It was the brunch the next morning when all 500 guests were talking about what happened the night before. Can you imagine waking up the day after your wedding and instead of people talking about how beautiful everything was, everyone's whispering about how your mother-in-law hijacked your first dance? But here's where it gets messy. Preston Bailey, the wedding planner who worked on the event for 11 months, recently told Page 6 he saw zero tension during the wedding planning. He described Brooklyn as a gentle, decent guy and said everything seemed fine. He even said Nicola was involved in all the design decisions, but always made sure Brooklyn approved everything first. So who's telling the truth? Did Brooklyn and Nicola hide their feelings during planning? Or is Brooklyn exaggerating now? The answer is probably both. Because family dysfunction doesn't always show up in front of vendors. You smile, you stay polite, you keep it together. But that doesn't mean everything's okay behind closed doors. Preston Bailey worked on the first 11 months of planning, but he wasn't there for the final weeks leading up to the wedding. That's when the dress drama allegedly happened. That's when Victoria allegedly started making demands and causing problems. So Bailey's perspective is limited. He saw the beginning of the process when everyone was excited and optimistic, but he didn't see the end, when everything fell apart. And here's what makes this even more complicated. Preston Bailey left before the actual event. So when Bailey says there was no tension, he's talking about the planning phase. Brooklyn and Nicola renewed their vows in 2025 without inviting the Beckhams. Tells you everything you need to know. They wanted a do-over, a wedding memory that wasn't tainted by family drama, and they got it. Nelson Peltz, Nicola's billionaire father, officiated the ceremony at the Peltz estate in New York. Brooklyn's siblings Romeo, Cruz, and Harper, they were in Europe on vacation with David and Victoria. Not invited, not missed, just absent. And speaking of the holidays, Brooklyn and Nicola spent Christmas 2025 with the Peltz family. Just the two of them, Nicola's parents, and her 7 siblings. Meanwhile, David posted his annual year-in review on Instagram with photos of family and friends from 2025. And guess who wasn't in a single photo? Brooklyn, not one. But hours later, David posted throwback photos of each of his kids, including Brooklyn, with the caption, "I love you all so much." It's like he was trying to send a message. I still love you, but you're not part of this anymore. And that Instagram post says everything about how the Beckhams operate. They deal in optics, in image, in carefully curated social media posts that tell the story they want the world to see. David's post wasn't about actually reaching out to Brooklyn. It was about showing the world that David's a good father who loves all his kids. Because if David doesn't post about Brooklyn, people will talk. They'll say David's a bad father. They'll question the Beckham brand. So David posts a throwback with "I love you," and suddenly he's the sympathetic parent trying to maintain a relationship with his rebellious son. It's PR. It's always PR with the Beckhams. Victoria's been even quieter. She hasn't directly addressed Brooklyn's accusations at all. No statement, no Instagram post, nothing. But on January 24th, when a photographer shared a throwback from a 2006 photo shoot in Madrid with the Beckham family, Victoria commented, "Brings back great memories, good memories." It's subtle, but it's telling. She's reminiscing about when Brooklyn was still part of the family, before Nicola, before the wedding drama, before everything fell apart. And that comment reveals Victoria's mindset. She doesn't think she did anything wrong. She thinks Brooklyn's being manipulated by Nicola. She thinks if she can just get rid of Nicola, everything will go back to normal. Brooklyn will come home. He'll sign the trademark papers. He'll fall back in line with brand Beckham. But that's not reality. Brooklyn's not coming back. And Victoria's refusal to acknowledge her role in this entire mess is exactly why this feud isn't ending anytime soon.
Brooklyn, in his case, this is just tainting the business brand, the Beckham family, and he's allowed to do that. However, I will say, Brooklyn Beckham has benefited from a huge amount of nepotism, which I know is an ugly word, but he would be nothing if not for his famous footballer dad and his Posh Spice Girl mom. He wouldn't have his amateur cooking channel. He wouldn't have his modeling career. So I think a little bit more gratitude is due. There's been so many scandals of celebrity families where the parents are negligent or they're abusive to their children. That is not what's happening here. An overbearing, devouring mother, that's a common trope. Everyone has that experience, I think, with the mother-in-law. But to be a little bit over-invested in your children is not a crime. There's a difference between a helicopter parent and an abusive one.
A lot to unpack.
Okay, I'm done. That was everything right
Lisa,
there.
This is devil's advocate. I mean, he would still have his looks, so maybe the modeling career could come. But here's the thing. Do you agree with Caroline? Is this the Yoko Ono of the Beckham family, or is it Brooklyn?
I think Brooklyn and Nicola are both complete spoiled brats. To turn on your parents publicly is a reflection of you and your character. And if I were Nicola, I'd be embarrassed by my husband who's acting like a little boy, a child, putting out this ridiculous statement. Also, by the way, one of the issues that he cites is that somehow Victoria Beckham pulled the rug out from underneath Nicola with a wedding dress at the 11th hour. But in Vogue, she talks about working with Valentino for an entire year on a custom gown that she wore down the aisle, including 2 trips to headquarters in Rome. So I think this is a bunch of baloney.
And that's the core of this entire feud. Victoria never wanted Brooklyn to marry Nicola. People close to the family say Victoria saw Nicola as a threat from the beginning. She allegedly invited women from Brooklyn's past into their lives to make him and Nicola uncomfortable. She pulled out of making Nicola's wedding dress at the last minute, forcing Nicola to scramble for a Valentino gown. She called Brooklyn evil for wanting his and Nicola's grandmothers at their wedding table. Every move Victoria made seemed designed to push Nicola away. But it backfired, because instead of driving a wedge between Brooklyn and Nicola, it drove Brooklyn away from his family. And now Victoria and David are facing the consequences. Their eldest son has publicly disowned them. He's accused them of putting brand Beckham above their kids. He's revealed family secrets that were supposed to stay private. The internet is divided on this one. Some people think Brooklyn's a spoiled brat who should be grateful for his privilege. Others think he's finally standing up to parents who've controlled him his entire life. Here's what we know for sure: Brooklyn's not backing down. He's made it clear he has no interest in reconciling with his family. He's not going to divorce Nicola to please his parents. He's not going to sign away the rights to his name. He's not going to pretend everything's fine for a family photo op. Good for him, actually, because at some point, You have to choose your own happiness over your parents' expectations. And Brooklyn chose Nicola show, but this story's far from over. Because word on the street is Brooklyn's writing a tell-all book, and if his Instagram posts were any indication of what's coming, that book is going to be explosive. We're talking years of family secrets, behind-the-scenes drama, and allegations that could seriously damage the Beckham brand. Victoria and David have spent decades building their empire, but all it takes is one person telling the truth to tear it all down. And Brooklyn has nothing left to lose. The Beckhams are in damage control mode right now. PR experts say they're taking a page out of the royal family's playbook. Stay quiet, let the drama die down, and hope people forget. But the internet doesn't forget, especially when new information keeps coming out. The ultimatum, the millions offered for wedding footage, the wedding planner contradicting Brooklyn's claims. Every new headline keeps this feud alive. And here's what makes Brooklyn's potential book so dangerous for the Beckhams. Brooklyn was there for everything. He saw David's alleged affairs. He saw how Victoria treated people behind closed doors. He saw the fights, the manipulation, the control. And unlike Victoria and David, who have carefully managed their public image for 25 years, Brooklyn has no filter anymore. He's done protecting his parents. He's done staying silent. And when that book comes out, the Beckhams are going to wish they'd handled this situation differently. Even if Brooklyn and his parents never reconcile, the Beckham brand will probably be fine. David and Victoria have decades of global equity. They've survived cheating scandals, tabloid drama, and public scrutiny. One son speaking out isn't going to destroy that. But for Brooklyn, this is personal. This isn't about brand preservation or public image. This is about a son finally standing up to parents who treated him like a business asset instead of a person. PR experts have weighed in on this, and the consensus is clear. The Beckhams will survive this. Their brand is too established, too global, too powerful to be brought down by one family feud. But Brooklyn and Nicola, this drama sticks to them. They're still building their identities. They're still figuring out who they are outside of their famous families. And every headline about this feud makes it harder for them to move forward. But here's what those PR experts are missing. Brooklyn doesn't care about his brand. He doesn't care about being famous. He cares about his wife, his mental health, and his freedom. And if speaking out means he'll never work in Hollywood again, so be it. He married into a billionaire family. He's not going to struggle financially. So the Beckhams' threats, the ultimatums, the attempts to control him, they don't work anymore. Brooklyn's free. And Victoria and David are just now realizing they have no power over him. So where does this leave us? Brooklyn and Nicola are living their best life in Beverly Hills. They're posting couple photos. They're spending time with Nicola's family. They're ignoring the noise. Meanwhile, Victoria and David are holding on to hope that Brooklyn will come back. But unless Nicola's gone, that's not happening. And Brooklyn's already made his choice. The Beckham family used to be the picture of perfection. David and Victoria, the power couple, 4 beautiful kids, $1 billion empire. And now, Brooklyn's exposing all of it, not for revenge, not for attention, but because he finally found someone who made him realize he deserved better. And that's what this entire feud comes down to. Brooklyn Beckham deserved parents who put him first, who supported his choices, who welcomed his wife into the family, but instead he got parents who saw him as an extension of their brand, who tried to control every aspect of his life, who gave him an ultimatum that no parent should ever give their child. Choose us or choose her. And Brooklyn chose her every single time. Drop your thoughts below. Do you think Brooklyn's right to cut ties with his family? Or should he try to reconcile? And would you turn down millions of dollars to keep your wedding footage private? Let me know and subscribe because this Beckham drama is only getting started. With a tell-all book reportedly in the works, Brooklyn's just getting warmed up. And Victoria and David better buckle up because their perfect family image is about to get a whole lot messier.